Hello guys, and as you can guess, I have just watched Putin's press conference and now I can officially and confidently tell you that no Trump, no NATO can help us in this situation. Only doctors. Because this conversation that lasted for 4.5 hours clearly illustrated that Putin is extremely disconnected from reality and he actually needs involuntary commitment. He is crazy, sick, and not tired. Recently, General Kellogg, who will be responsible for the future potential negotiations between Ukraine and Russia, stressed that Russia and Ukraine are tired of war. Putin kept repeating that he loves the war, everything goes according to the plan, and most importantly, violence is the best way to fight against Russian border. Honestly, in his speech, he illustrated that he is not okay, and I hope this will influence the attitude of the global leaders and they will understand that Putin needs medicine, not appeasement. And I have decided to watch this press conference to protect you, and now we will discuss fakes that Putin kept repeating in his speech, illustrating that everything once again goes according to his plan when in reality Russia lost control over Syria and its naval bases in the Mediterranean. Everything goes according to Ukrainian armed forces plan in Kursk region. He could not answer these questions. Russian economy is collapsing, but one of the main questions that I have, where does he get Botox? My name is Anna, I'm from Ukraine, I'm in Ukraine, and actually I can name myself a doctor because I'm a PhD in linguistics, and now we will analyze this very sick speech of Putin. And if you want to see the defeat of Russia, demilitarization of it, and also protect yourself against evil Russian narratives, subscribe, I will take care of you. And let's start with this very toxic interview that once again revealed the sick personality of the Kremlin goblin. He definitely looked weird and his non-verbal behavior was not okay, as everything about Putin. He was nervous, he shared lots of totally unrelated jokes, and the majority of questions were well prepared. But he numerous times illustrated that he is very disconnected from reality. And let's start with his comments on Syria and the fall of the Bashar Assad's regime, who later escaped to Moscow and now is hiding there with billions of dollars that he stole from his own people. And Putin said it was not a retreat, it was not a Russian failure, but I don't know, another gesture of goodwill, just as he did when lost control over Ukrainian Kherson. Anyway, this failure is super bad for Putin, and we're not just talking about humiliation or loss of naval and aviation bases, but Russia is now cut off from the access to the Mediterranean Sea, which was vital for this so-called geopolitical domination myth that Russia tries to spread when illustrating itself as a superpower. And in contrast to that, it was super pathetic to observe how Putin could not answer questions about Kursk region. Some representatives of this controlled by the Ukrainian armed forces Russian region asked questions. What about this counter-offensive in Kursk? When will the settlements be liberated? And Putin had no answer. What is more interesting, it's not the first time that he issues orders that Kursk must be liberated by, and this date changes just as Putin's red lines. And this is a kind reminder that Russia is not just weak to defeat Ukraine, it is weak to protect itself. And a kind reminder, all we need is 1991 borders. We are ready to return Kursk for all of the Ukrainian territories, including Crimea. That is very important. Subscribe to see it all happening, and most importantly, Putin getting the medication he needs. I'm telling you as a doctor. And please share these videos on your social media platforms. This helps to counterfight Russian fakes. And one of the main reasons why I paid much attention to this video is because these negotiations are in the air. Lots of countries expect that newly elected US President Trump will make a miracle, stop the war, and not just stop the war, but I don't see a plan. Recently, General Kellogg, whom I respect, and I've heard a lot of good words about his career and attitude, spoke about this potential ceasefire even before the inauguration of Trump, before January, and it doesn't seem likely. Let's be realistic. It's the 19th of December. Also, he said that both Russia and Ukraine are tired. Well, Ukraine is tired as any normal country and people would be after 3 years of full-scale war. And Putin's economy, Putin's army, they are definitely tired, and like these losses, these insane losses that Russia experiences on a daily basis, and now North Korea together with Russia, because right now we fight two nuclear countries. Let's once again be realistic. And this size of losses would have stopped any like normal or more or less normal, adequate person, but not Putin. And that's why I remind you, we should not think about appeasement. We should think about involuntary commitment. And he started saying lots of very absurd things that actually make me feel quite confident that he's not okay. First of all, that Russians enjoy war and they are bored when there is no war, and it's good when the bullets are in the air and you hear explosions. So we have literally the so-called leader of the largest country in the world who enjoys killing Ukrainians. And he speaks about that openly in his next great idea of the Oreshnik experiment, when he says that, well, it didn't work out the way he wanted. People did not get scared, so let's conduct an experiment. And he was ready to target any object in Kyiv that can previously be protected by your Western air defense, and we will see what happens. So he openly speaks about an experiment on like ordinary people, children, and he thinks it's funny. And I will be very offended if tomorrow someone tells me that we have to speak with this monster, with this extremely pathetic Botox dictator. Thank you, you've taught me how to pronounce this word, so I don't say buttocks anymore. So one of the important things that I want to tell you, that Putin does not want to end the war. He does not want peace. He loves war. He needs it to explain his economic failures, to explain the control over people, over various forces. That's the best way for him to remain at power for the decades to come. According to the changed constitution, he can actually reign Russia until 2036. So that's the plan. He is prepared to continue fighting in Ukraine and then going on if we do not defeat him and demilitarize all of that evil dying empire. He also spoke about Zelensky as a non-legitimate president, forgetting that he is the president of Russia for the last 24 years and that no country under constant shellings can have elections, because in Ukraine, you know, we do vote for people, not just like he is assigned by someone else as it was in Russia in 2000, because since then Putin is the only dictator of that country. And I think this is one of the tricks that Putin actually uses. if signing any agreement with Zelensky or not with Zelensky, any moment he can say it's not a legitimate agreement because it was not signed with a legitimate someone. It's just like Putin who is legitimate. It is insane that many still like swallow these ideas and try to adjust to this reality that is totally distorted by Russian madness. He also spoke about ethnic Jews in Ukraine, hinting at Ukrainian president and thus counter-fighting his propaganda about, Nazis in Ukraine, and that they do not attend synagogues, which is very wrong if we speak about normal, democratic, diverse world, once again reminding us who is the danger and who's Nazi in this situation. And Sobchak, who is the daughter of a former colleague of Putin and who is sometimes seen as a potential woman president of Russia, many see it as a good person, was there. Another reminder, unfortunately, I cannot think of any like normal representative, real representative of the Russian opposition, and let me know if you know someone. And at this moment, how do I see this agreement, negotiations that Putin can agree on? Subscribe to demonstrate your solidarity with the people of Ukraine and all freedom fighters. Let's remember about Georgia. They stand for their European choice. So Putin knows that people of Ukraine and Zelensky will not agree, will not give up. He hopes that President Trump can push us into something that they will name agreement, but in reality will lead to the creation of a satellite state, Ukraine totally controlled by Russia, if not militarily, then politically. And Putin will use fear as one of his main instruments to influence President Trump. And here I hope that Trump seems to be very self-centered, and I hope he does not want to look like a coward. And another thing, we are confident that we will never accept that, and it's not the first time that Ukraine stands against not just the aggressor, but this weakness and lack of trust in us, because just remember how this invasion started and that we stopped it. Even our friends gave Ukraine like 3 days. And here we are, 3 years after, with Kursk controlled by Ukrainian forces. Thumbs up for that. It was also good that Ukrainian drones worked well in Rostov region, targeting an oil refinery and also targeting a metallurgic plant a couple of days before. Now it was confirmed. Let me know in the comments below, what do you think about this Putin's press conference? Where does he get that much of Botox, Isn't that a US product? Wasn't it sanctioned? But it's actually so pathetic how insecure he is and how fake this image of strength, of Russian strength, especially in the context of the collapsing Russian economy. And Putin for the first time had to speak about that, had to speak about inflation, rising key interest rates. And would you like a video about that tomorrow? Because I feel like Russian economy is also one of my favorite topics, because I love speaking about everything collapsing in Russia. And The Economist had a great article where they actually state that despite war, constant shellings, and it's all happening only on the Ukrainian side, Ukrainian economy is doing much better than the Russian. Like for that and share the videos, and join me on Instagram, X, Threads, Blue Sky, Discord. Check our merch shop for lots of good items that work well as reminders, conversation starters about Ukraine, and also Christmas and New Year presents and presents to your loved ones, and they have beautiful messages with them and definitely remind people about the brave Ukraine. Let me know in the comments below, how do you think, what kind of doctor I could be, or what kind of doctor Putin needs. I have one idea, but YouTube won't be very sensitive to allow that. Thank you for buying me coffees, becoming my patrons and sponsors of the channel. United we stand. Slava Ukraini!